What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Chiefin'. I'm your host, Dale Fowler, along with my partner, Lonnie. How you doing today, bro?
Good, good. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing pretty good. Can't complain. We definitely got a lot to talk about today. First, we're going to definitely discuss the offensive shift that we've seen so far with the Chiefs, where they defeated the Chicago Bears 41-10. Also, we're going to talk about the misfortunes from Jawaan Taylor, how he's been targeted with the referees. Also, we're going to talk about who has been your MVP on defense so far, and if this unit is actually top five. We're going to definitely dive into some Chris Jones talk as well too, because he's definitely been dominant at both the edge position and as a defensive tackle. And then we're going to give our predictions for the upcoming game against the New York Jets. So we'll be right back.
Get ready, Chiefs Kingdom, to unleash your passion and excitement for all Chiefs content. With the up and coming sports media company giving you all of the Chiefs coverage. We are raising the decibels and embracing the community of Chiefs Kingdom. Elevate your fandom and join our team who loves your team. Red Kingdom Media.
Welcome back to the episode. Now, diving into our first topic. Hold on. Let's rewind that. My bad. Because I forgot that part. Before we begin, make sure to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel at Red Kingdom Media, and also make sure to follow us on all our social media platforms at Red Kingdom Media as well. Now, diving into our first topic, Lonnie, we dominated the Chicago Bears, bro, last Sunday, 41-10. Outstanding performance by both the offense and defense. It seems like the offense was able to get it together. They were definitely thriving as a unit, and the starters actually got out after the first drive of the second half, and they were able to score a touchdown. So, what are your thoughts on that performance? And do you feel like the offense got its groove back?
Yeah, I definitely feel like the offense definitely got some of that groove back that we thought that we seen them have these been in the last season, winning that Super Bowl, capping off that last season. So I feel like we definitely got into our groove. We beat up on a Bears team that was not really that we knew was coming in with a lot of different distractions going on, and Justin Fields not playing his best ball. So we took advantage of some things that we knew we could take advantage of. I'm really excited to see them going forward against any of these really good defenses. I feel like this next game on Sunday night is really going to be a measuring stick to see if that offense is fully back. I can say that they're back, but I don't know if they're back all the way until we see them go against a defense that will play on Sunday night that we know for sure is a top five defense playing at just as good as the Chiefs. Just doesn't have the quarterback there, being that Aaron Rodgers got hurt. But I feel like they have their groove back. They definitely were hitting some deep balls, got some deep shots to MVS, got some deep shots to Watson. So Rasheed got a couple passes in there, Scott Moore. So they mixed some guys in. Everybody made some plays. We had one hiccup there with the Jawaan Taylor situation. So, but I think the offense is definitely finding a groove, finding it for sure. Scoring 41 points, that's definitely looked more like Mahomes. He only threw for 270. He would have threw for 300. I feel like if he didn't have the rolled up ankle, but I definitely feel like the offense is finding their groove, getting back to where they need to be, especially if we're going to be winning games here in January and February.
The offense was outstanding in my opinion. You alluded to Mahomes. If he didn't roll up his ankle, he could have threw for over 300 yards. I think honestly, if they played the entire game, he was going to go over that mark. But they were just so dominant in the first half. They were capitalizing on all the turnovers and the mistakes that the Chicago Bears offense was committing, and them getting back the ball, they were able to go out there, really drive down the field, and just be, dominant throughout. You saw a great balance with the offense, with us running over 30 times, having 15 apiece from Jerick McKinnon and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, mixed in with a little Jet McKinnon and also Mahomes and Blaine Gabbert as well. But we saw that they were able to just really have that balance to where the defense didn't know what to expect. This is a team who can, go away from the run and just really go out and just pass throughout the entire game, making it one-sided for that offense. So with us just coming out there saying like, hey, we're going to give the ball to Pacheco, we're going to give the ball to Clyde, we're going to be able to open up the game for us and really just go down the field as well too. They're averaging over 3 yards a carry as well, so they definitely was opening up the holes on the offensive line. But we were able to capitalize, and the wide receivers played a well polished game as well too. We saw a little bit more of MVS, who was making some noise. We saw Justin Watson make a big play on the just a fantastic throw made by Patrick Mahomes. And then of course we saw some good reps from Rashee Rice as well too. So I think overall we were able to really get have them come out and really be able to just move the sticks. Sky Moore looks like he's definitely getting that connection with Mahomes going forward, and it looks like he's been making a lot of effort as well too. He just been understanding where Mahomes want him at times, and he has been capitalizing off of that, and he hasn't been having problems with drops as well either. So I'm definitely excited for what we have going forward. If this is an offense we get for the rest of the year, this is a team that might not have to worry about any more losses going forward. And against teams like Buffalo, the Bengals, and the Dolphins, who will be playing later on in the year, I'm confident that we can put up some points against those defenses. And then also on our side as well, too, with the defense playing so well, is going to help us really be able to just control dominance in the AFC. But we alluded to earlier talking about Jawaan Taylor, and that's something that we're going to move on to next anyway. So, what are your thoughts about that so far? Because before we begin, I said this before, and it's something that has came up on social media as well too. So what happened when he got benched? Andy Reid, he put him out there and put Prince in the same position, had him in the same alignment to see if they're actually targeting Jawan Taylor, or they're actually as a unit is looking at this call a little bit more and making sure that all right tackles are aligned correctly, or all tackles in general. So he went out there and he said that he was in the same alignment and he didn't get no calls on that drive as well too. That was actually the drive in the second half to where we went down the field and we scored, and that's when we saw the starters actually go out after that, like the skilled positions. Well, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelsey, and we saw the younger guys really get more clock as well too. But on that drive, they scored a touchdown, no penalties at all. So he went ahead, went off in that press conference as well too. We know Reed, he usually just bypass those type of things. He kind of keep his cool and move forward. But he really was like, hey, I'm not really liking the fairness of what's going on right now. And he actually pointed that out. So, Lonnie, what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I think I share the same sentiments as Andy Reid. But unfortunately, calls are calls, and we spoke about this previously on the post game show and just off air. I don't think that they're really gonna stop spotlighting it, just because they've already started spotlighting. It's hard to get refs to change. But I'm definitely standing on the side of Andy Reid, being that this is just starting to become blatant obvious. You watch the Sunday night games, and then the Monday night game, and you see how the tackles are lining up, and you see Lane Johnson, and there's no calls. On Lane Johnson, it looks like he's off a little bit. So, I feel like he's definitely being spotlighted. He's definitely being picked on. But it's really only so much we can do. We can't submit stuff to the league office. Andy Reid and them can. So I'm just hoping that they submit the right thing, showing that he's lined up no deeper than any other left tackle in the league. All they can do is continue to submit those things to the league office and hope that they eventually stop and it dies down. But unfortunately, as of right now, I don't know if it'll calm down. Jawaan will just really have to get in there and line up. I'll make sure he's lined up correctly, like we said. Try and check in, give the thumbs up. There's just some other things he's gonna just have to do to figure out how to get lined up correctly, because it cost the team in a lot of critical situations. It took a touchdown off the board on Sunday, so you can't have those type of mishaps. Especially just because we never had them before with any of our left tackles or right tackles, and it's becoming kind of just like a weird situation per se, because it's looking kind of obviously like he's picked on. This is a guy that made his money like this in Jacksonville. He had
Hmm.
Joey Bosa really throwing a fit in the playoff game against the Jaguars versus Chargers. So
Hmm.
this is a guy that is really, really good off the snap. So I don't see what's going on now, but I mean, I guess it's something that we'll have to see if they correct. And if they don't call it on Sunday night, which is going to be all eyes on that game. So I wouldn't be surprised if they pick on him on Sunday night again. So it's just hopefully he's lined up correctly, and hopefully he gets a good establishment with that ref. We talk to the refs before the game, check in or something, Jawan, because Sunday night all eyes are going to be on us, and all eyes are going to be on those refs to make that call or and
So,
make it or not make it. One or two.
so do you blame the media, or do you feel like this is something that Jawaan Taylor should have addressed a little bit earlier and been on top of it after that first game of the season. Because yeah,
I definitely blame the media. I thank you for saying that. I don't know what ref that is doing like the clips. I don't know if it's Dan Blandino. I don't want to get it wrong, so I don't want to put that out there. But I think it is a guy that does the reviews for Fox, if I'm not mistaken. So uh, is you don't. I feel like the media is definitely putting a lot on it. Being that that ref came out saying that he was lined up illegal in that Lions game, we seen it call us just a crazy ton in the Jaguars game, something that was like just ridiculous. And I know it was kind of just a fallout of that social media post, seeing that the ref that does the reviews on Fox is saying that yes, he is lined up illegally. So I just feel like they made that correction there. And that was the league probably cracking down on them. I feel like anytime a social media post is made, especially criticizing the refs and showing blatant, obvious spots where they're wrong at, it's kind of like calling the league out, which they get kind of embarrassed. So they try and make an example of whoever that was kind of making a fool of them per se by like exploiting the rule. So I feel like for sure it's definitely because of the social media. It's definitely because of the social media following that it's getting on. Not only is it that, it's because people love to hate the Chiefs and people love to love the Chiefs. So just as much love as you have is just as much hate you're gonna have. So it's worldwide. So I just feel like it's definitely going to get called. It's definitely being spotlighted. It's definitely because he's playing for the Kansas City Chiefs, because he played like this, like you said, his whole career. But it's definitely because of the social media following and that just that ref. I think it's Team 33 is the Twitter team that posts that stuff for for like the refs and just different things like that. If I'm not mistaken, so I don't like it, but I think it's something Jawan's gonna have to fix. And just make sure he keeps his sound moving forward, because we do not want to have that type of stuff moving forward. We're too much of a high flying
especially the
offense.
playoffs.
Yeah, and we're trying to score too many points for us to have setbacks like that.
Yeah, I was going over. I was like, it's pretty obvious that you would actually say like, "Hey, Andy Reid and also Jawaan Taylor should have been on top of this after week one," just because the conversation that was going on social media and how everyone was talking about it. It was like, okay, you have to actually go ahead and fix this problem now to avoid that issue going forward, because now you are a target. But as said before, that's something that it doesn't. You just don't have one game adjustment, and then you're going to be fine. This is something that he did for 4 straight years, and now he was expecting to do for another 4 years with us because he was paid based off of that. So, like, you can't really be upset with it. But honestly, I place the blame on the media. Chris Collinsworth is the person you start with, because he alluded to that earlier in the game, and he kept on referring back to that as well too, even bringing the booth in those situations as well, saying like, "Hey, how do you really feel about this? Do you think that he's moving a little bit early?" And then when you play it back in slow motion, it's like, okay, it's not the false starts. He's actually moving on time. Of course, then and there, you're going to have false starts as an offensive lineman. That just happens. You're not just going to be perfect and not be penalized. You just probably not going to be penalized as much. Now, that's something that has faded away. But now the alignment of what's going on and what they're describing is like, okay, yeah, he's not on the line, or he's not doing any of those things, but it was other people as well. Even earlier, when they talked about it, when they stopped that touchdown that was thrown to MVS, they went back to the film. It was like, well, if you look at him, he looks like he's aligned the same, just as much as Donovan Smith on the other side. It looks like he is in position. So I think that they actually stole a touchdown away from the Kansas City Chiefs in that moment. So right then it's like, okay, I think y'all focusing in on one player a little bit too much and not focusing in on the other guys as well too around the league, which are actually doing the same thing. Because we said this before, and I've been saying this from the beginning. If you want to refer back to anyone, you're going to go back to Lane Johnson. Now, this is not us as fans snitching on Lane Johnson. This is someone who has been doing this for years as well too, and he was in the spotlight in the Super Bowl last year, right there. So I think it's obvious. It's like, it's out in your face, but at the same time, Don't worry about what the media is talking about, because these are guys who are looking for a name for themselves already. And I don't mean to go out for those type of outlets. I'm not even going to say those outlets names, but you guys know who I'm alluding to, because they're always reposting what they're saying and quoting with other information provided by that as well too. And they're just going deeper into what they're talking about, just forcing the topic. And you have all these hundreds of comments on here. You have these thousands of reposts and retweets, and right now you just getting into the broad audience of what's going on X. You see how all of it is there, so it's like, oh, it's just keying in on this person. So I think it's just something that they had to go back and review. Let's try to bring that down a little bit. Like we said before, Jawaan Taylor, we understand what's going to save you, even when you want to actually put yourself in the position that you was in before. Give that thumbs up to the ref. If they say it's okay and you get in that position, so be it. You call a penalty. I just told you okay. You can have that conversation when they're discussing that call as well too, and they go back to it. Now, ref, you just said I was good. How you gonna flag me out of nowhere? You just said I was good. When you all up in your ear, and we know what the Kansas City fan base is capable of as well too. Because what happened after that Chris Jones roughing the passer uh in Kansas City on Derek Carr? Carl Sheffers damn near cried. Don't play that with us. Don't do that. Because let me tell you
And
something about Kansas City Chiefs fans. We real fans. Like, yeah, y'all might think we homers because we got the best quarterback in the league. But nah, when y'all see how they talk about us on social media, Tyron Matthew was mad, Justin Reed was getting mad, Chris Jones was getting a little irritated. Hey, when you on bull, we're gonna call you out on it. So right now, with the refs as well too, you gonna be on up there choking. You better stop. You
and
better
I
get it together.
and I say it to say this. Andy is one of the best at making adjustments. He's one of the best at being able to counter and know what the opponent is planning for. We may not see it or know what the refs may do in certain situations. He's the best at knowing all of that type of stuff. So I put the onus on Jawan and Andy at the end of the day too as well,
Mhm.
because they need to adjust. Just like any other game, when you have a good pass rush or any other thing, coming into a game, you have to make an adjustment. So I put that onus on Jawan and Andy as well. Make the correct adjustments. Make sure you fine tune it. Make sure that you don't line up that for the like that the entire game. If we got to have you in this stance and make sure you're doing this lined up correctly on every for more reps in practice for the whole practice. Now that's just what we have to do for 4 periods, just to make sure you're doing it all 4 quarters,
Right.
whatever that may be, to make sure that you're not lining up illegal. You need to make sure you get it done, because Sunday night the games are not going to get any easier for the Chiefs. We're only going to be spotlighted even more. So Jawaan Taylor, if you're lining up offsides, you're going to get called even more, because you're going to be on the biggest games in the world, and they have to make examples on those games. And you don't want to be the New Orleans Saints where you miss a blatant pass interference call. So, and when you're playing in primetime games, that's basically almost playing in a playoff game. So we have big games all for the rest of the year. They need to make the correct adjustments so that this doesn't keep getting called moving forward. Because this is something that can linger. Like I said, we're going to be in the biggest games in the world, games of the week. It's the 325s or 720 kickoffs for the rest of the year. So some adjustment has to be made.
And I think that's why Andy Reid did what he did in that game when he put Prince out there to really see how he was lining up and see if you're getting the same calls. Now he going forward. Okay, Jawan, we're gonna have to make an adjustment. I know we was trying to see what's going on. Maybe they were just picking on you on that game because the media was calling it out. We was just gonna see what was happening in that moment. Okay, it looks like they are on that. Let's go ahead and make this adjustment. So I think they had that conversation. I think they probably discussed like ways of how they're gonna go about it going forward. So I'm not worried about that. This is something that can really be an easy cleanup. Of course, he's going to have to get adjusted as the year goes on, but he's going to be perfectly fine. He's a veteran. He's been in this position before, and he's been solid blocking those opposing defensive ends as well too. This is just something that's petty, 5 yard penalty. We need to, just get rid of that, because the offense, it looks like it gets stagnant in moments where we have to go back in yardage, and it puts us in a position to a longer second down or third down where we don't want to be in that predicament. So we'll see how it goes. We know that it will get fixed. Excuse me. So it's no need to worry about that. Now, before we go ahead and transition over to the defense, make sure to like and subscribe. Like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Red Kingdom Media. Also follow us on all our social media platforms at Red Kingdom Media as well. Now, Lonnie, I love the defense, bro. You know, them has those guys has been the group that I've been, really watching the whole time, every game. Even in the game against the Lions to where the offense wasn't doing anything at all. And I was just finding something to look within the defense. It was like, man, this group is phenomenal. They really looking like a top five defense. I can't wait to see what happened going on in the year. So who is your MVP so far on the defense?
Yeah, and I just don't want to take. I'm not gonna take yours. I'm gonna let you have them. I know who you was gonna say, and I didn't. I'm not gonna take them. But I'm gonna give it to Chris Jones. This man came in no training camp, no nothing. We thought he would come in looking like a fat slob, not coming out of shape, not coming in performing, and he has proved everybody wrong every time he
That
steps on the field. Whether it be inside, whether it be outside, he got doubled a little bit. So I would like to see him be more beastie there, just kind of just roll running double teams. I mean, if that's what you're going, you can't get a one on one all the time, Chris. But he faced a lot of double teams before early in his career, so I think it's coming. This dude is just playing out of his mind right now, though, and that pressure, the pressure that he's getting inside and outside, I think is second to none. What he's doing as a defensive tackle, inside and outside, is second to none. He's a mammoth of a man, and he's like destructive. He's just destroying everything in front of him. I think this is the type of season he's gonna have to get the payday that he wants. It's just kind of where he's just railroad, train running, train wrecking, just everything, game wrecking everything. So this is, I feel like he's been the MVP of the defense that has been the top five defense so far. I feel like as long as he keeps playing at a high level like he is, creating sacks, and just getting back there, putting pressure on the quarterback. I feel like the success of the defense is only going to continue because the pressure on that front end always helps your back end. And he has some back end guys that I could have gave MVP to that are playing out of their mind as well. So that's who's my MVP as of
Chris
right now,
Jones.
Chris
All
Jones.
right. All right. Well, like you said earlier, you pretty much know who my MVP is going to be. So of course, Trent McDuffie. This guy has been balling out so much. He's just been really playing up to the level that I expected him to play. He's been forcing turnovers, not with interceptions, but forcing fumbles. He's definitely been sticking. He's definitely a hitter, and he's not afraid of contact, and that's something that I want in my MVP on defense, in a cornerback that can be the best in the league. And he actually has been the highest graded guy according to PFF so far as well too. So he's he's been balling out. He's been putting in the work. I'm just ready to see the interceptions. That's all we need left. That's all he
That's
needs
it.
on this actually is the interceptions, and I think he can get that very soon. He's not someone who's targeted as much, so of course you're not going to see that a lot from him. However, he's a guy who has been balling out, and when the opportunity comes, he takes advantage of it. So Trent McDuffie for me on that end for MVP on defense.
Yeah.
So
And I knew
yeah.
Trent was gonna be your guy. And I just want to say hats off to Trent, man. He has played out of his mind. This is a guy that I haven't been I've not been the biggest fan of. I'm not Dale is a super big fan of him. Just because we didn't get to see him play a lot, but this dude has been playing out of his mind, and to be an undersized guy, and to be leading the team in forced fumbles, it speaks volumes. Just as to how physical he is as a corner, and just how like ready for the NFL this dude was, as far as just like mentality goes. I just like I said, I would have made him my MVP, but I knew Dale was gonna make him his MVP. That's why I gave it to Chris Jones. But yeah, that dude playing on the back end. I think is second to none. And if he gets an interception, I feel like start talking about him in a whole different light. Let alone two or three interceptions. He'll really start to shine there.
If Lonnie didn't see him miss those games in the first part of the season last season, I think he would have a different perspective on it. He got injured in that Cardinals game where he was out basically until week 5 after the Buffalo Bills game. So he had to come in, feel himself back into get himself back into rhythm, get himself back into the scheme. And he was able to do it quickly, and he was someone who was definitely a key factor in our Super Bowl run as well too. But just seeing him coming in preseason, looking solid, coming in the first couple games of the season as well too, showing that this is somebody that this is why we drafted him in the first round. He has the potential to really be one of the best corners in the league. Yes, he is undersized, but he can be someone who has an island on his side of the field as well too. And thinking about it as well, going back, and he wasn't able to be a part of those games the first part of the season last season. We were that that means we wouldn't be able to see guys like Jalen Watson early as well too, to see what we have in this group. And that's why we seeing the potential, and that's why we see the rotation between all these defensive backs, because they all can play the position well, and they all have been looking dominant in their position as well too. And when you go back to it, this is a defense, of course we create a lot of pressure as well, right? That's how we generate pressure. But in moments, I saw in the game to where, okay, we was rushing for the offensive line for the Chicago Bears. They was holding up somewhat. Justin Fields was definitely holding on to the ball a lot, but it was like on the back end, he didn't know where to go. So what does that tell you?
It's blanketed.
It's is being covered very well. He doesn't know where to go to it. He has to force himself outside of the pocket. He has to run for the first down himself or get yardage. So it's like we have moments to where we can get covered sacks. That's a plus on a defense, to where you have a lot of guys in the NFL now who can really get open. You can't leave them one on one. Just to see that and see them be able to cover those NFL wide receivers. I understand this is Chicago Bears, y'all. However, these are still NFL
That's
players,
major.
and this is a defense back in the day under Bob Sutton. They couldn't cover, they couldn't catch a cold, they couldn't do anything. They
Yeah.
were really weak. That was the weakest group. We had guys like Ron Parker, we was depending on the back end to get turnovers. We had
Yeah.
Sean Smith, who was, aging at his position. We actually got some young dogs over here who was able to hold their own and really be able to allow the front four and the front seven to generate some pressure, after 4 or 5 seconds, to where now it's going to be a cover sacks. We're able to contain the outside. You have to run through us. That's what I love. I love what I'm seeing on this defense. I'm loving what I'm seeing on this back end. Trick McDuffie, MVP, like I said before. Now let's go ahead and jump on. We got more defense to talk about as well too. We talked about this earlier. I don't think they ready to hear it, Lonnie, but is this defense top five?
Yeah, I think I'm not gonna say yeah yet. Um, I
He
want to
ain't
make.
ready to say it yet.
I'm not ready to give them that yet. They played the Bears. They played the Jaguars. The Jaguars was a good team. They put up 30 the week before they
Lions
played
was
us
too.
against the Indianapolis Colts. The Lions were a good team too as well. But the Chiefs didn't win that game. So, um, I'm not ready to give it to them yet, but they definitely can be. We got the Jets, and then I'm not sure who we got after the Jets. I think it's the Vikings. If we can get through these games without giving up 10, I'll give us that top 10 defense. I mean, top 5 defense for sure. And then that just sets up for a killer game going into Germany, which is going to be sick. As long as the Dolphins can stay undefeated, but I definitely feel like they're on the verge of being top 10 for sure. These guys have been together for a year. And the communication has only gotten better. They already won the Super Bowl their first year. When the back end and the front end start working together, that becomes very, very scary. We seen this with the defense when we first got Tyron, and they were finally kind of getting everything going and started turning the ball over. So Mahomes with the top 5 defense, we've never seen it before. Like I said, this is a team that we're not going to be scared to punt anymore. They're definitely
Mhm.
going to be running that defense out on the field and trusting the defense to get stops. This is going to be different for, I think, Chiefs fans moving forward. But I definitely feel like we are on the verge of being top 10 for sure. We didn't have any Nick
On
Bolton
the
last week.
verge.
On the verge of being top 5. But I just don't feel like we're top 5 yet. That's just not
I th-
just me. I just feel like this is the test because we haven't had any real tests. I mean, like if we would have got A-Rod instead of Zach Wilson coming this week, I'd have said, oh, okay, yeah, like let's see. This is where we say we stamp our top 5 right here. We go out here and shut A-Rod down, then yeah, we got it. But it's like, man, we got A-Rod, we got Zach Wilson, then we got Kirk Cousins. And then it's gonna be like,
Someone who can really throw 300,
yeah,
400 on you.
yeah,
Don't sleep.
he
Yeah,
can
just
sling it. He
everything.
can sling it. They just haven't been good this year. And they're talking about Kirk Cousins going to the Jets anyway. So it's like, oh my god, so that'll be horrible if we play them and he just that'll just
He
be bad. But
he gonna go to the
uh,
Jets right now.
well,
Is what
that
I think.
well
He's
that
not
that's a
going
topic
there.
for another day. But yeah, he's on a 1 year
Yeah,
deal. I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean that'd be
They need a
if
quarterback, and Zach Wilson
yeah.
and Garrett Wilson do not get along. I'm just telling you that right now.
Oh yeah, they
Um,
fine.
yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of people. So it's like, it is what it is. But I definitely want the Chiefs to be top five. I just can't crown them yet. I just can't crown them yet. That's other than you. But what do you think? What's your thoughts?
Honestly, I do think they're a top five defense. I know you said earlier, like, hey, we played the Lions, who they did beat us, but they only put up two offensive touchdowns. We beat ourselves by dropping the ball, and not scoring offensively. So that was a game that was winnable, and they did their job. But yeah, we only gave up three touchdowns in three games. That's how dominant this defense has been. And the Jaguars and the Lions were top offenses last year at the second half of the season as well too. And like you said earlier, we saw what Trevor Lawrence and that offense did to a Chargers defense who is pretty aggressive, who is always a top 15 defense in the league anyway, and they were able to do what they did. And for us to be able to come in, Calvin Ridley, who had a red hot first game, who someone has been a key target for Trevor Lawrence this season as well too, we are able to shut that out. And the other guys as well too that we played, they just weren't able to get any rhythm against us. But the reason why I'm giving them a top five decent defense, because regardless of who we have played already, if you look at rankings, this team will be ranked in the top five with based off their based off their stats and the product that they have put out so forth right now. So that um that's why I'm giving them that top five defense right now. But look, I respect it, and I understand why you want to really halt that and really say they're on the verge. I think you already giving them the step of a top 10 because that's how they've been playing so far. But like I did say this too, I'm definitely waiting to see what we do against teams like the Bengals, Buffalo, and also the Dolphins. But let's keep in mind that the Kansas City Chiefs always play up to the level of their competition anyway. We were again frustrated when they were playing to the level of their competition of guys who are not as good. So this unit has been this unit has held to that standard and really have been really getting been attacking the quarterback. They haven't been allowing as many catches or that many yards as well too. We haven't had a 300-yard passer on us. They have been dominant in that way. And then also our linebacker group, who somewhat has been always been the weakest on our defense. This unit is really phenomenal, and we see Leo Chenal, who's definitely stepped up in his role and has been playing a lot better after his rookie season. This was someone who had a limited snap count last year, and he's getting a lot of snap counts this year, and he's really doing his job. Drew Tranquil, who's a veteran, who's coming in, he's looking solid. They're not letting up. They're at the point of attack. Who when they We talked about this before. It's like they're a lot smarter and a lot faster this year. When they see the person got the ball, it's not no hesitation of, oh, let me stop and see what happens. It's like, let me go after him. Let me get him.
They're
I'm,
hungry.
I'm gonna go ahead and hit him. I'm hungry. We're on top of it. That's why we've seen a lot of three and outs this season. That's why we've seen a lot of times where they probably did get a couple first downs, but we're able to go ahead and hold up, be able to get a stop. So really, I feel like they are a top five defense this year, just based off of stats right now. Now it can change. It can change later on. That's the truth. We see that happen all the time. The Chiefs were one of the worst offenses in the beginning at the beginning of the year, the first two games. Now, based off the performance that they had last Sunday, they're basically top five, top six in every category.
Yeah.
It happens. So of course, over time we'll see that shift. But if this is a defense that if I see them in the top five still by week 10, it's official. They're legit. I trust them going into the playoffs. I haven't been I haven't felt this confident. Haven't felt this confident
In a long time.
since in a long time. And we always had great defenses in the years that we weren't great as an overall team. We had horrible offense. We're finally having it all together. And it's great to see. And we have a quarterback where against in situations when we get to the playoffs, yeah, they might have somewhat of an average year throughout the entire season just because they might be having growing pains where they're dealing with, situations in different position groups. But when you have a veteran quarterback going into the playoffs and you playing against a young team and probably young defense as well too, they take advantage of that. We have saw that many times in the Brady era. We saw where he had an offense that was average, above average, but at the same time they were able to still put up points. But they had a top five defense or a top 10 defense that helped them push through and be able to get those stops. And then you have your top quarterback, your guy, just someone that they consider the GOAT, someone who we consider the future GOAT in our position. We're gonna put them in a position to be able to close out the game and win. That's why they were able to be champions. And I feel like we got that defense now. So Chiefs
which is
top five defense in my opinion. I'm sticking with it.
scary because that just elongated Brady's career too.
Yep.
Just not putting a lot on him. Really letting them be at a mid, really sitting back and putting that ball and Belichick being like, all right, if we win 21-14, who cares? If it's a pick six, like really putting that onus on McCourty, Gilmore, just all of those guys, Ty Law. He had a whole bunch of guys roll through there. It's
Dogs.
it's reminiscent of that time. Hopefully we can capture that moment in time like that because that just elongates your star quarterback's career because like I said this year we probably gonna be putting a lot just because that defense looks good and I like the way they look really good.
Yeah, they look tough. Now, we're sticking on defense right now before we go to our predictions. We'll make this one a little bit quick. So, right now, we talked about how great Chris Jones has been so far. And we saw how he has been playing that hybrid role a lot better this season as well, too. So, really, are you messing with him as a defensive end a little bit more, or are you messing with him as a defensive tackle? I saw Clinton added in the middle linebacker. Now I'm like, what are you talking about right there? I'm not doing it. No, I'm not doing that.
Nah,
So
yeah, I like him at both positions. Just any pass rusher in general.
Colin
Um,
Sanders.
I heard him. I heard him say, like, I heard Nick tell him in the mic'd up, like, go find somebody to win on. That's what we want him to do. I don't care if he's
Mhm.
playing defensive end. I don't care if he's playing defensive tackle. Go find the weakest lineman. You pick the weakest one and you go to work on him. You go one on one. We gonna get you the one on one. If they don't chip your side, if they don't bring the back or the tight end over there, oh well, that's their fault. But we getting you the one on one with whoever that may be, whether it be the center, the left guard, the left tackle, right tackle, whoever it is. You go feast. So wherever that is that Chris is comfortable in that game, I feel like that's where he needs to line up. I feel like he just needs to play defensive line. Period. Whatever position it may be, he knows the system through and through, and I feel like that's how he's gonna do it. Just moving forward, like he's just gonna pick where he wants to go feast at, which he's gonna be a beast and be a monster. I think wherever he is, you just better hope you don't got no weak links on your offensive line because he's gonna pick it out and he's gonna find it. And I just want him to exploit it. So I don't care if he's defensive tackle, defensive end. I just want him to play defensive line. Period. That's it.
I'm leaning. I'm not gonna lie. I'm leaning towards defensive end a lot more. Like I still want him to play defensive tackle, of course, but I do like the percentage upped with his reps at defensive end because it seemed like the past couple of weeks he has been able to take advantage of those right tackles and really just utilize his size and his quickness. And this is someone who has got lean over the offseason as well too. So he has been taking care of his body. You alluded to earlier with expecting him coming back after that week one matchup. It seemed like we thought he was gonna come back sloppy. So
Yeah.
we thought he was gonna come back, not ready to go. Probably had to get a feel for the game, but it seems like he came back just solid and just as dominant as before. But yeah, I've been liking him really at defensive end. But really, I'm not going away from what you said. Fill out that line. If you have a battle to where you probably have a matchup you feel comfortable with, attack that probably more often throughout that game. Don't make it as obvious, but in situational moments when we actually need to play on defense, go ahead and line up against that guy and be able to get back there and attack the quarterback and get it sacked. But at the same time, I have been liking Mike Dana in the inside as well too. So in situations when we know that we're going after the quarterback and we're attacking, probably put it in the moments to where I like the defensive line of Chris Jones at edge on probably there on the right tackle. Have Dana on the weak side guard. Have Noddy in there as well too, or Turk Wharton in that situation because he's more of an athletic build, someone who's good at attacking the passer in the interior rush as well too. So instead of Noddy, Turk Wharton or Charles Omenihu when you get back, and then also either have Carl Laftis or Felix, depending on the situation that you want. Because with that power rush, you already getting Chris Jones back there because he's not someone who does a lot of hand movement or hand fighting. He uses size. He get up under your shoulder pads, and then he maneuver wherever the quarterback is going to where he put it in position. And of course, we talked about the length of his arms as well too, to where if they try to get to the outside, he's long enough to be able to slow them up and grab onto the jersey and then make it to where it's not a feasible first down, easy first down for them, to where it's easy, we can still be able to have containment and recover from that if they try to do that. So I'm liking what I see right there. And then so if you have him in that position, I say go with Felix, who is more of a speed rusher, and he has been getting a lot of pressures as well too. Like I said before, with the win rate against tackles or with opposing offensive linemen, he is second behind Chris Jones. So whatever we do in that situation, I think we have a stout defensive line. We have the depth. But yeah, I've been really pushing more towards of Chris Jones at defensive end. And I said this before: if he want to really meet his incentives and be able to add to his sack total to be able to earn that money that he put on this 1 year contract for the rest of the year, I think he's going to have to do more of edge because it seems like he's been getting a double teamed a lot in the interior, and that's been harder for him. So Chris Jones, I'm loving you at what you're doing at defensive end. I'm loving what you're doing in general, but I would love to see his snap count up a little bit more in that edge area. Now let's go ahead and move on to our matchup next week against the New York Jets. Lonnie, what are some players that you are watching out for on both sides of the Kansas City Chiefs and also the New York Jets?
We're definitely gonna be watching DJ Reed on the other side, on the defensive side for the Jets, just seeing where he is. I know that's a good safety over there, Jordan Whitehead. Just kind of watching those safeties, seeing what they're doing. Then we're going to see Garrett Wilson. I'm definitely going to be watching the Garrett Wilson Trent McDuffie matchup. Let's just see what that is. If it's Trent McDuffie or if it's Sneed, it may be Sneed. Just see how they match it up. See what they want to do with it, where they go with it. They got a lot of different guys they can match up with. Garrett Wilson has been a game breaker though, a game wrecker, as a matter of fact. So I just really want to see how that matches up. And then that defensive line, you got some first round picks over there. You got solid running that defense, that same defense that we seen in the Super
For
Bowl.
sure.
So it's something that I'm just ready to watch and ready to see. He knows how to attack this defense, the offensive line. We lost us in the Super Bowl. This is a man that is very, 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 very remembers everything, and looks like a very energetic guy that doesn't forget anything and wants to kick a lot of ass. So I'm hoping that Salah and the boys don't have a good day on defense, and Mahomes and them can find their way. And even if they do, I want to see if that offensive line steps up and can shut those pass rushers down, quiet down C.J. Mosley and the boys, and see if we can have a good day on the offense again and submit that showing that of the offense and show that we're here. We have arrived. And this team has arrived, and we're going to win a lot of games. And we're going to win a lot of games moving forward, being that our defense is young and got a lot of guys on rookie contracts. I feel like this is gonna be the game. This is the measuring stick right here. To see if the Chiefs, if we're gonna go 2-2 and almost have a middle of the pack season, or if we're gonna submit ourselves and continue winning and kind of just only have those two blemishes that one blemish on the record for the whole year. So I just want to see what we can do and see if we can really turn around and get some things going. See the matchup on the offensive line. See where Jawaan lines up. See if we can kind of stabilize that, not stabilize, but take advantage of a really, really, really successful defense, a defense that just embarrassed New England. New England hasn't looked great either. Move it just these past couple of weeks. So I just want to see what we can do and really just have some success. Give us some more hope here in Kansas City, letting us know if we get a top 5 defense coming in here, there's nothing to be afraid of.
Yeah, the players I'm looking out for on the Jets is it's not that this person is someone I fear that's going to take advantage of what we doing on defense, but just because he left, McCole Hardman. He hasn't did anything so far. I don't think his stat line has been significant at all. Last time I seen, he only had one catch for 6 yards. This is a guy who left the offense, said that what he was doing over there with Aaron Rodgers, he felt like he was he can tell the difference in a sense. And I just want to see. I mean, I understand he's playing with Zach Wilson right now, but what are you doing differently that you couldn't do with us? Because right now, what you're on pace for, you were on pace for already with us, our highest wide receiver total with the Kansas City Chiefs, I think was around 600 yards. You're not even on the pace for that. So, are you going to be able to take that in, not being able to get that deal from the Kansas City Chiefs? Are you going to take advantage of that, use that as fuel to actually dominate and probably have a 100-yard performance against us, or is it going to be the same that we've been seeing all season so far right now, where you're not getting any rhythm within that offense? The offense has looked sloppy, period. Are you going to be able to capitalize? And of course, we're looking out for Garrett Wilson as well too. This is a guy who can do anything with any type of quarterback back there, but you're only as good as your quarterback, so he's probably going to have moments against us, but it's not going to be enough to beat us. And defensively, Quentin Williams. Um, this is a guy who um, Chris Jones was looking at his contract to see how much he should up from there. Let's see if he's as good as Chris Jones, if it makes sense what's going on. You talked about that New York Jets defensive line. How great are they going to be against our offensive line? So that's who I'm watching out for on the defensive side as well. And of course, Sauce Gardner, best cornerback in the league, in my opinion. Defensive rookie of the year last season. How is he going to hold up in moments where he probably match up against Travis Kelsey? Uh, uh, let's see if Sky Moore and company and Justin Watson, are they going to be able to uh expose him at times? This is a guy who's great in man coverage, but can be better at zone coverage as well too. That's always a good measure stick to have as well. So I mean, of course, I think the Chiefs are going to beat the Jets, but this is still a defense that will make it a long day for you, and they will give their opportunity. They will give opportunities for the offense, for the Jets to actually capitalize against us. So that's why I have players to watch for. Just pretty much Jets players. We know who we watching out for the Chiefs. So it's fine. Can't wait to see what happened. But let's go ahead and move on to the predictions for the Kansas City Chiefs and New York Jets game that's going to be played on Sunday night on NBC, 7:20 Central Time, 6:20 Mountain Standard Time, 8:20 Eastern Time. So, Lonnie, what's your predictions for this upcoming matchup?
Yeah, I'm not going with that same producer score because I just don't want to give the Chiefs that much cushion
It's not even that much.
on them now.
That's what we
So
used last time when we won.
20. I'm going 21. I'm going 21-10, and I really don't even want to do that. But I'm going 21-10. The Chiefs win. Um, we give up another touchdown, but I really don't want to I don't want to predict us giving up a touchdown, but I have to because I don't want to be that person that just says that and then yeah. So we know how this game looks on paper. All right, like we not gonna say it's too much different than last week, but I don't want to be the person that does that. So I'm gonna give the Jets a chance. I'm going 21-10. Chiefs win.
I'm going 29-3. I think we're going to dominate defensively. I think we're going to have our moments on offense to where it's frustrating, but we're going to understand that this is a good defense on that side of the ball for the New York Jets. However, I think we're going to have moments to where it's like, okay, this offense look like they're back to normal in a sense. We have our tough outings against those defenses that play pretty well, but we have our moments to where it's like, oh, Patrick Mahomes is amazing. He's able to find a way to will this offense to get some points on the board. So I think we're going to have those moments to where it's like, okay, I can see them scoring around 3 to 4 touchdowns, having some moments of some field goals as well too. So that's why I came up with the prediction of 29-3. I think Patrick Mahomes has another, game to where he has a great passer rating. It might not be as much in yardage, but I am going to give him around 315 yards total. Probably 280 in the air, around 40, 30 something on the ground, but he does have a total of 3 touchdowns altogether. All of those being throwing touchdowns, and then maybe mix in the touchdown from the running backs as well too. Definitely want to see that same balanced offense that we saw last week. That's
For
how we're going
sure.
to be able to beat a team. That's how we're going to be able to beat a team like the New York Jets that has a great defense. We have to be balanced. We got to be able to throw some different kinks into the offense. Let's not make it a one-sided affair on the offensive side of the ball. So that's all I have. Anything else you want to add before we get out of here?
No, stick to that running game, like you said. Stick to the
Okay.
running game. That's what New England did to beat the Jets. They leaned on Zeke a lot. We got to run that ball. Give it to Pacheco, give it to Clyde, give it to McKinnon. Even if it's not working, stick with it. Give them
Yep.
the threat of the run, and then let's work off of that. And I feel like we're gonna win.
Play action.
Yep.
Yep, I definitely agree. But before we go, make sure to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. Like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Then also make sure to follow us on all social media platforms at Red Kingdom Media. This all we have for this episode of Chiefin. Thank you for coming in, watching, enjoying. Make sure like, comment, and share. Get it out to your family. Get it out to your friends. Come hang with the boys. Have a good time. We got a post game that's coming up this Sunday as well after the New
Yep.
York Jets game. So we're going to be live with you and talk about all the latest, what happened up in that game, break down all the scores and stats, and go over it as a whole as Chiefs Kingdom. So that's all we have for this episode of Chiefin. Talk to you next time.
Thanks for checking out this update straight from the heart of Chiefs Kingdom. We appreciate your passion, so please leave a like and follow us wherever you tune in from. See you next tailgate. Your trusted source for all things Chiefs. Red Kingdom Media.